Today we will learn about statistics. Statistics is a very important part of daily life because every day we come across lots of information that is presented to us in various forms, and we collect that data, and without knowing we analyze it. The data, the word comes from the Latin word datum. Data is the plural of this word. Since we come across lots of information, we want to categorize and analyze it. So we systematically study these information or data in the branch of mathematics called statistics. Now we will talk about the collection of data. From how and where is data collected? Data is mostly collected in two main forms, primary and secondary. Primary is when data we get directly from the source. Like suppose we are reading a newspaper and we want to look at the weather patterns of the last week or last month or so. So we are getting it directly from the information directly from the newspaper. So it is primary. Another type is secondary, in which we don't directly have access to the information or the data, but we have to go to some sources which have stored already the data. Like suppose we go to a library and take out a book to check out the weather patterns. In that way, the data that we are collecting is secondary and not primary. Okay. Now let's talk about representation of data. Data can be represented in three main forms currently. First is when we have direct raw data. Now, how is this represented? Suppose there is an exam. Suppose there is a mathematics exam, and we have the marks of all the students from a specific class. The marks of the students that we have is called the raw data, and it is shown just like I'll be showing. Like suppose the marks from 1 to 100, the marks vary like 40, 43. 56, 78, 84, 92, 70, 63 and so on. These all are basically the form of raw data because we do not know anything about them other than the fact that they are specific marks obtained by specific students. The second type is when we categorize this data into a specific range. Range means that there is a maximum and there is a minimum, and all the data that we have collected fall within that category. Like in this raw data, the maximum we see is 92 and the minimum is 40. So the range becomes maximum minus minimum, that is 92 minus 40, which is 52. In the total data that we have lies in this range, that is within 52 units of each other. The third type is when we take into account how many times each information is appearing, and we call that frequency. Like suppose 3 students got the same marks, 78. 2 students got 84, 5 got 56, 1 got 92, 4 got 70 and so on. So we see that the frequency of these marks is the number of students that get these marks. So we see that if we make it as a table, marks frequency. If we plot these 56, 78, 84, 92, 70. 56 is obtained by 5 people, 78 by 3, 84 by 2, 92 by 1, 70 by 4, and so on. So these are the main 3 ways in which we represent data, and let us move on. This frequency table is basically called an ungrouped frequency table. It is ungrouped because we just have the raw data and we are assigning the frequency associated with them. There is no grouping as such. But when we have the specific ranges, like in this case 52, if we assign specific ranges to these marks and then we assign the frequency, then it will be a grouped frequency table. Let us see what that is. The group frequency table, why do we use such a thing? This is because when we have a lot of information, a large amount of data, we need to condense it into smaller groups or smaller ranges so that we can analyze it better. Like suppose we have hundreds of students and we want to take into account all the marks obtained in the mathematics exam, but we have so many students and so many marks. If we take individual data as raw data and plot them, it will be quite difficult for us. So we used a group frequency table in which we have classes or class intervals. Now what exactly is a class interval? A class interval is a range within which the data of that range falls and the frequency is associated with it. Like suppose, in just as the previous example we take for the mathematics exam, for marks between 1 to 100, we construct the classes or the intervals as such: 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, and so on. 81 to 90, 91 to 100. Now we just have to frequency. Classes. Now we just have to write the frequency, that is the number of students that obtain marks within these range. Like suppose 1 to 10, 0, 11 to 21, 21 to 32. Similarly, 81 to 90, suppose 4, and 91 to 100, suppose 5. Okay. Now we see that we have divided the whole mark sheet 1 to 100 in specific classes that are of range 10. 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30. These ranges, they are made up of the upper and lower class limits. That is, in every class there is a lower class limit and an upper class limit. All the data falling within that class are restricted between these two. So these are basically, these determine the range of the class. Now usually when we classify data, we also see that the difference between the upper and lower class limits is constant. the range of each of the classes is constant, so we can say that they have a specific class size or width, which in this case is equal to 10, because this shows the variation of 10 marks, similarly 10, 10 and so on. Okay, this is called a group frequency table. Now suppose, as an example, let's suppose that someone got marks like 80.5 or suppose 70.5. Now we know that before this there was 71 to 80 and suppose 3. Now we see that we have a dilemma, because 80.5 neither fits in this class nor in this class. So in such cases, what do? We find the we take the a class, upper limit of one class and the lower limit of the next class just after that, and we subtract. In this case, suppose we take the first two classes, the upper limit of the next class is 11 and the lower limit of the previous class is 10. So we do 11 minus 10 and we divide it by 2. So we get 1 by 2, this is equals to 0.5. Now to accommodate these data, we change the classes as such that in each class we subtract the lower this 0.5, this value, from the lower limit and we add this value to the upper limit of each class. So when we reconstruct the table, to 20.5 and so on, we get 70.5 to 80.5, 80.5 to 90.5, 90.5 to 100.5. These were the distribution is the same as before, that hasn't changed. The only thing that has changed is the range, because now it includes 0.5 and so it is continuous. Like here there was a gap between 10 and 11, so we could not enter the values 10.5, but here there is no gap, it is completely continuous, so we have to enter 70.5, 80.5, those values. Now 80.5 we see is in this class as well as this class. So how we don't actually determine as such. By convention, we take the value which tends to be the lower limit of the class. So we put 80.5 in this class. So we have another one added here. Similarly, we put 70.5 in this class. So the frequency increases here as well.